Hi, this is Joe LaRocca. We're back, and I'm very excited to announce we have a guest co-MC, Rex Gillette with Protection One. Rex, thanks for being here.
Joe, it's great to be here, and welcome to my hometown of Fort Lauderdale.
Oh, awesome. Glad to be here. You brought great weather. We've had a good time.
Always.
So I'd also like at this time to bring in a guest, award recipient from today, Barry Vaughn, who works with Gap Inc. Earlier today, during the general session, Barry was awarded the Loss Prevention Case of the Year. This is an award given to cases that are submitted to the National Retail Federation, voted on by senior executives, and recognized by industry peers and retailers for the fabulous work that's been done. Sometimes these companies work alone. In many cases, they work with other partners, but undoubtedly, the cases are initiated and spearheaded by really talented investigators and law enforcement partners. In this case, Barry had a fabulous case, and I invited him up to spend a little time talking about the award, why he won it, and what it means to him. Barry, thanks for being here.
Oh, thank you. First off, it's just an extreme honor for me to receive this award. Not only for myself, but on behalf of Gap Inc. This was an investigation that went on for the better part of 2 years, and it was a bit labor intensive at times with regard to really finding the right law enforcement professional to really partner with me during the investigation. The investigation took about 2 years, and the scam that the actual individual was actually running was a very simple scam, but it was for the most part unheard of within the retail industry and within law enforcement. The young lady, I don't want to say her name right now, is that okay? Fine. Where she was actually coming into our stores and buying high dollar gift cards as well as merchandise. She would then basically convince the cashier to put in a bogus authorization code. She did that over 500 times, in which case the case value, once we got to the point of prosecution, was in upwards of $800,000 and estimated to be much, much more, but what we were able to prove was $800,000. And the court actually ordered her to also pay $500,000 in restitution to the other retail victims involved in the case.
Fabulous. Barry, I know when you work these investigations, you really spend countless hours and you work with partners inside. And something you said this morning really hit me. You've worked with Gap Inc. for how long now?
I've been with Gap Inc. now just over 8 years.
Okay. So the Gap, Banana Republic, Old Navy divisions, did I miss one?
They have Athleta, and they have the Piperline, the online business, shop on Piperline.
Okay. See that? So what a fabulous organization. And I know in addition to supporting these major investigations, Gap is super involved with the National Retail Federation and industry groups and really supports the people that work for them. You've been with the company for 8 years. You're clearly pretty excited about it. You have a fabulous leader. Tell us a little bit about Keith White.
Keith is one of those charismatic, he's just like the best boss I think I've had in a very, very long time. Really gives his people the opportunity to grow not only within the company, but even grow as professionals, amongst themselves. And it was, certainly an honor for me to really get this position with Gap Inc. because Keith said something to me a couple years ago, and I'm not sure if he remembers it. He said something very simple that, even if you don't think you can do it, you'll never know if you don't try. And he said, "I believe in you." And when he said that, that just kind of ignited a fire in me to where I never wanted to let him down. Or the VP of Loss Prevention, Chris Nelson for Old Navy, never want to let him down. We call him the general, but these guys are just the best.
It's fabulous. Barry, thank you for sharing that. Now, Rex, you're the co-MC, but I want to cheat a little bit on this, okay? Earlier today, you announced some really exciting new businesses that you're getting into, and I think Amber's going to touch on those, but I love solar. I want to talk a little bit about this announcement I read about the SEAL teams going out into the field and doing these massive installations. How in the world do you pull something like that off? I'm sure it takes countless hours and people. Tell us about it.
Well, it was, without getting too much history of the opportunity for us, we were tasked touching and spending considerable time in 4,000 locations in a very short time frame. And we basically brainstormed the thing to figure out how we could do it, and the best way to do it was to just get focused on it with individual people and technicians. That's all they did day and night. Young, energetic. We were day and night, and what we accomplished was tremendous as far as being able to touch those 4,000 stores in a very short time period. And that will be our model going forward as we conduct other conversions, the SEAL team approach.
That's amazing. And I think just by what you've both said, it's really all about the people and the partners and the commitment to the business and really the leadership. And I know now both of you are extremely experienced. What advice do you have for people? You know, people are watching this on the internet. They're down on the expo hall floor. We have a whole gang of people watching this here around the room. What experience would you offer if somebody said, I'm interested in getting into loss prevention, or I want to get into being a service provider and new into the industry? How'd you start, and how do you get into the business?
Well, it's interesting. He mentioned about the SEAL team thing. Well, for me, you know, we have a sort of a motto that we don't quit within Gap Inc. And that's really one of the reasons why my resolve to resolve this case, and it took 2 years. And in, you know, some circles, 2 years is way too long to work a case, but a case of this complexity, I knew there was going to be some fruit to yield after an investigation like this. Now, as for how I got started in loss prevention, I used to do executive protection, and after I got married, my wife had my first child. I wanted to kind of be home more. It's funny, you know, fast forward 8 years, I'm traveling quite a bit now again. But when I started, it was a perfect opportunity for me to stay in the security investigative profession and then spend more time with my family.
That's awesome. What's your wife's name?
Melissa.
Melissa, thank you for loaning Barry to us for the week. He really is a rock star. And if you could, she's not here, is she?
Oh, no, unless she's hiding in the bushes somewhere.
Okay. It was really such an incredible award ceremony this morning. And to see Barry up there before hundreds, thousands of people here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, congratulations. He is a real rock star, and we know that's a commitment on your family. Now, Rex, you've been a leader in the industry now for many, many years. I think when I was just starting, you were still, you were one of those people that everyone knew, trusted, and looked to you. Tell me, how'd you start in the business, and what recommendations do you have perhaps for people that are out there today thinking about jumping into the industry?
Well, I actually started in loss prevention for Heck Company, a division of May Company, as a loss prevention store security manager years ago. I then went to work for Sensormatic 2 years later. But Barry said it best. I mean, for young professionals, whether you're a supplier or in loss prevention, listen to your leaders. When you got the leaders are there for a reason. They got there. So the Keith Whites, the Bob Dales of the world, if you're a young professional, listen to them because they've been through it all, and their advice is usually pretty sound.
That's great. We're here in Fort Lauderdale. We're at the NRF Protect Conference, and what you should know is that we have a number of leaders that are coming up on the agenda, and they're sharing great information about their experiences, about the committees that are happening at the National Retail Federation, and also industry issues like organized retail crime and cyber crime and the challenges that we're facing. And I know both of you now, having been here at the conference, have seen the expo hall, the exhibitors on the show floor. There's probably certain technologies or issues that are top of mind for you. Rex, when you come to this show and being here, what types of things flag in your brain as I need to learn this, or I need to meet these people, and maybe some reasons why?
Well, as an integrator, we don't manufacture anything, so we're constantly looking at the innovation that takes place, and what a great place to do it, like the NRF. I mean, you've got all the booths out there. People are bringing their latest technology and latest service offerings, so we constantly scour the floor to see what's out there.
That's great. And Barry, what do you look at? What's on your mind here?
Really, I actually took advantage of the Fusion Center with the law enforcement professionals. I know I was fortunate enough to have a really, really good Secret Service agent, Special Agent Williams out of the Newark field office to work with me on the investigation. But, again, there were just so many of these types of investigations to actually undertake throughout the country, and really learning how to better partner with law enforcement, engage, knowing who some of the go-to good people are within law enforcement to sort of help me build those cases was definitely key for me during this conference.
Now, as I look around the conference and look at the technology and the people and how the show has evolved, I think we also look at those partners. Rex, you had mentioned you're an integrator, and I know for most people that is pretty self-explanatory, but that also involves the same type of intercompany partnerships that go on where you're working with the IT group, you're working with store operators, you're working with the logistics team, really trying to make the overall business run. What advice would you have for new loss prevention directors, people coming up in the business, on how you partner with you as a service provider, but also work closely and collaboratively with the people that are within the company itself?
Well, today it's critical that loss prevention collaborates with their IT departments. You see all the innovations taking place now impacts a store's network and the IT division. So it's important today, especially, that there's that collaboration. As far as working with integrators, I mean, it's all about partnership. I mean, and it always has been. And the true good partners are going to be there for you in the good days and the bad days. And working within retail, we all know there are good days and bad days. All kinds of things happen. So partnership is key.
That's right. Now, Barry, thank you. And Barry, you brought up that you worked with Special Agent Williams, and I know that relationship between retailers and law enforcement is key. Within the company, you have colleagues and partners around the country. How do you share information with folks? What types of information do you draw? How do you do that? Is it conference call? Is it meetings? What formats do you share and collaborate with your peers?
Honestly, a little bit of everything. There's no one quick fix. There are days where I may call someone up and say, let's have lunch, and kind of read them into a case. Depending on the content, I may send an email. Depending on the sensitivity of it, I may need to withhold it and, get approval from a higher up before I actually disseminate that information. But, me personally, I really prefer to actually meet face-to-face with people because it allows me to kind of read how serious they are about what I'm serious about.
That's great. I'm going to out Chris Nelson for just a minute. Chris, prior to working with Gap Inc., was at Target. And just sharing a quick partnership story, and I'm sure neither one of you probably know this. I was fairly new with the National Retail Federation. I'm in Washington, and the government relations team comes forward and says, we need somebody to testify before Congress. I'm like, are you serious? Yes. So pick up the phone, call Brad Brecky at Target. Brad Brecky says, I will have somebody there, just tell me the day. Chris Nelson flies down, probably one of the best ORC witnesses we've seen in the U.S. Congress. That's partnership. The work you've described today, incredible. How we get the job done. It's all about people, all about networks. And I'm getting the wrap sign, so I think we're going to probably say goodbye to both of you, and we're going to turn it back over to Gus Downing.